All right, welcome back to my Let's Play of Axis Football 26. I know that at the end of the first Let's Play episode, I said that I would probably be getting into a match for the second one, but I accidentally lied because I realized that there's actually some other stuff that I want to do, some preseason sort of stuff that I want to do before I actually get into a real game. So let's go ahead and load up our franchise. And what I want to do is I actually want to install my playbook. I made a few custom plays before starting the Let's Play, and I think my roster is better suited to a slightly different scheme than the team's default. So what we can do is we can change our playbooks and scheme at any time by going to team settings. And, oops, this is league settings. Well, wait, actually, you know what? Let's go back, because it turns out I forgot to do some settings in here. So, first and foremost, 15-minute quarters, fatigue, injuries, yes. Let's up that difficulty. We'll go with All-Star at first and see how it goes. And I might... in the past, I found that offensive play is pretty easy, so this might actually go up to Hall of Fame. We'll see how it turns out after like the first couple games. If I'm blowing everyone out by 30, 40 points, I will increase the offensive difficulty. And if I'm shutting everyone down and, only allowing like 1 or 2 scores a game, then I can also increase the defensive difficulty. Trades, again, we're keeping all this stuff normal. Like I said in the previous episode, we can change these settings at any time. Apparently, we can disable the salary cap or give ourselves unlimited funds at any time during the franchise or season 2, but we're not going to do that. All right, so anyway, go to actual team settings and find Las Vegas. And we can see in the default playbooks that the offensive playbook is a power run offense and the defensive playbook is a 4-3 defense. We can also change our scheme between an even front and an odd front. And doing that will actually change the depth chart. So if I do change this to a 3-4 scheme and then I go back to my depth chart, personnel. I'm not used to doing this with the mouse. I'm used to having a controller, so sorry if this is a little slow. You can see that I have a single nose tackle instead of 2 defensive tackles, and I now have a jack linebacker, or I guess the game still just calls them left and right inside linebacker. But I think in real football, this would be the Mike, and this would be the jack. I think it's called jack. And the outside linebackers, of course, are the same as before. It's the Sam and the Will. But we don't want a 3-4 front because we actually have a decent depth on the defensive line. So I want 4 down pass rushers. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to set this back to 4-3. And then accept changes. And then if we go back and look at our depth chart again, we can see that we now have 2 defensive tackles, a left and a right defensive tackle, and a single middle linebacker, or Mike. Now, as for the actual playbook, I want to use my custom playbook. This is something that EA still does not let us do in Madden Franchise and College Football Dynasty. You cannot choose your custom-built playbook as the default playbook for your team in Franchise and Dynasty, which means we cannot set things like formation subs and audibles for all of the actual formations that are in your custom playbooks, and I have to manually select my custom offensive and defensive playbooks before every single match in Madden and EA College Football. It's really friggin' annoying, and it's been a problem for, I think at least a decade now. The best you can do in an EA game is choose to use a default playbook that has all of the same or most of the same formations as your custom playbook, and then you're able to set formation subs and audibles for those formations only. But if your custom playbook has any formations that are not in the default playbook, then you can't have custom formation subs or audibles set within franchise mode for that playbook. But in Axis, we can use our custom playbooks. And Access doesn't have like formation subs or audibles to set. So, whatever, that's fine. But my offensive custom playbook is called the Power Pistol, which is a variation of the default pistol playbook in which I've added some more under center fullback runs and a few custom plays with fullback runs and some RPOs with the fullback run option. And hey, while I'm here, why don't I go ahead and show you some of those custom plays, and then we'll come back and do the defense later. Unfortunately, I don't think I can actually change the playbooks themselves from within franchise, so I have to actually exit out of franchise, which should automatically save. Go to Create, Play Editor, Edit Existing Plays, Offense. So the custom play editor is the big new feature of this year's Access Football game, just like the custom playbooks was the big new feature of the previous game. As you can see, I made a custom a custom fullback RPO, as well as a few attempts at making screenplays. This game won't let me create proper screenplays with pulling linemen on a normal or play action passing play because pulling is considered a run block in Access Football 26. So my hack here was to actually create the screenplay as an RPO, which enables run blocks, including pulling linemen. So this will effectively be a play action screen pass. I have no idea if this will actually work in game. I have no idea if this would actually work in real football. It probably wouldn't. And there is currently no practice mode to test custom plays in Access Football 26. So the only thing we can do is call this in an actual game and see if it works. And just to demonstrate how the play editor works, why don't I go ahead and make a new play or two? So first of all, let's take a look at the playbook editor and see what kinds of plays are missing from the pistol sets. So pistol sets, like we got a QB keeper, we got some RPOs, we got some play action, we got some halfback passes, again, more QB keepers. Unfortunately, these don't get to be actual read options. Like this is designed as a read option. It even has a mesh point where the quarterback fakes it. And as far as I know, there's no button that we could press or hold or anything like that that would hand off to the running back. So these are literally just QB keepers with a play fake. They're not proper RPOs, unfortunately. We got a bunch more halfback runs. We have one fullback run here. Bunch more halfback runs. And then these, I think, all the rest of these, I think, are single running. But nope, we got some full house plays. One of the things that frustrates me with these like full house kind of formations and power T formations in football video games is you put three backs in the backfield, but the playbooks don't actually have plays that give the ball to all three of those players. So what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to create a full house custom play in which this running back on the right side, I'm not sure if that's the fullback or the tight end, we'll see, where he actually gets the ball. Here's another full house formation. Again, no runs to either of the fullback or tight end. More single back formations. So yeah, we're going to create some full house formations, a couple full house formations, and include some fullback runs. So let's go ahead and create a new play. This is going to be a normal offensive play, normal offensive run from the pistol. And yes, that's a fullback. So I think there was a handoff to the tight end. There was no handoff to the fullback. So let's go ahead and fix that. So we'll just make this fullback dive. All right, handoff target, fullback. And we will edit the fullback. And all he can do is a dive. I can't even call like a pitch or a sweep or anything, unfortunately. Oh, wait, no, yes, I can. Ugh. All right, so fullback dive. So, I mean, this is pretty much it. I can go back here and I can maybe change where this guy blocks, make him block out a little bit more. Seal the edge. But I think pretty much everything is good. Maybe I'll take a look at the tight end. Maybe we can get him inside lead blocking a little bit more. And hopefully he doesn't just get in the way of my fullback. But this is what we'll call. And we'll see how this works in an actual game. So we'll go ahead and save that. And then we'll go ahead and create one more. Normal run. And now we have the full house tight end. And if I remember correctly, in this formation, neither the fullback nor the tight end got a carry. So let's again see if we can rectify that. We'll do another fullback dive. And off target will be the fullback. And we'll have the fullback go ahead and just run straight forward. And we'll do the same thing with the tight end. We'll see if we can get him to block inside. And just as before, this running back will go ahead and try to take the edge and prevent any edge rushers from hopefully tackling the fullback behind the line of scrimmage. And let's go ahead and create one more play from that same formation. And this time, we're going to hand off to the tight end. And yep, I think that's good. Running back's already blocking out. That's good. Fullback, have him block inside, just as before. And voila. And for fun, one more play. Let's do a fullback toss. Fullback crack toss. All right, this is going to be to the fullback. Toss outside. And then let's go tight end. Let's try to get him to go this way. Running back is going to go back. So I don't think there's much point in having the running back try to lead block out this way because he's going to be behind the fullback anyway. So I'm just going to have him take the backside, and then the tight end is going to go across the formation and, just make sure that nobody gets in through penetration. I could probably also, if I'm going to have the tight end blocking, I could probably have my guard pull out. And then hopefully the tight end can come in and chip whoever the guard leaves unblocked, so that guy can't just, crash straight in and take out the fullback. And then, at least that's the plan. We'll see how it actually works in play. And then this guy is going to do a run block, and we're going to do a crack block. And then the other receiver can just do a runoff. So that's cool. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Just do a tight end crack toss. Oh, no, I don't want decoy routes. I want run block. All right. And those are some new plays. Now I have to actually go back into my playbook editor and edit my playbook. And there's a special tab just for custom plays. So I'm going to make sure that all of my custom plays are in my playbook. And now I have a custom playbook. So go back into franchise and go back into team settings. Default playbooks. All right, and then for my defensive playbook, I'm going to be using my custom 4-2-5 defense. I've always had trouble defending the pass, and in particular the deep pass in Axis football. For many years, it was because of just flat-out broken deep zone coverage, but that has been mitigated in the past few years, so it's not as big a problem as it used to be, but I still struggle a lot with it. So I want to have more nickel and dime as my base defense, and then I usually only leave like 2 true linebackers on the field. Our default roster only had 2 good linebackers anyway, but if you recall in the previous episode, I did sign another B-rated free agent linebacker, so I do have 3 B-something rated linebackers. So I could run a proper 4-3. I have the talent for it, but that third B-rated linebacker will still come in handy because most of these nickel and dime formations have linebackers in the edge rusher positions. So our third B-something rated linebacker will get plenty of play time. Nothing to worry about there. So let me show you some of the custom plays that I have created for my defensive playbook. Once again, I have to edit all the way back out, go to play editor, edit existing plays, and go to defense. So you can see I've got 6 plays here. These plays are actually based on some of the defensive strategy that I've been using in EA's football games for a few years now. Usually I've been running my defenses in those games out of like a 3-2 scheme, but my default roster here in Axis has good D-line depth, so I want to try to go ahead and get a 4-man front and see how effective that is, having a consistent 4-person pass rush. But anyway, the core philosophy of this defense is going to be to put extra DBs on the field for their speed, but then blitz those DBs. With the proliferation of running quarterbacks in football nowadays and in video games, I'm trying to get free rushers off of the edge who can actually keep up with or outrun mobile QBs and chase them down. Their extra speed also means that the QBs are going to have a split second less time to get the ball off if they come clean off of the edge and the QB decides to throw. It's also intended to confuse the offense's blocking schemes because blitzers can and frequently do come from literally anywhere on the defense. I will be blitzing my nickel, I will be blitzing my dime, I will be blitzing safeties, I might even be blitzing the outside cornerbacks from time to time. And then not to mention there'll be some traditional linebacker blitzes and some stunts thrown in there as well. I should probably go in and make more defensive plays with stunts now that I think about it. I don't think there's a whole lot of them. But anyway, these custom blitzes in particular are basically trying to overload one side of the pass protection with my linebackers in an attempt to force the QB to move or scramble to the opposite side where a nickel, you can see here, where the nickel will be waiting for him in a spy assignment. So in essence, we're going to try to blitz the right side of the offensive formation, force the quarterback to scramble left. Most quarterbacks being right-handed are going to have a harder time throwing if they're running to the left. And then this nickel back, and then the quarterback, if he scrambles, is going to be running right into the waiting arms of this nickelback who is in spy and hopefully fast enough to pursue and chase down even the fastest QBs in the league. At least that is the idea. But once again, I want to show off the play creator, and I realize also that I showed you offensive play creators, and all I did was create a bunch of like fullback dives. I probably should have created some passing plays too to show you how that works, but maybe later. All right, and here are also the options that you have. You know, you can create a normal run, you can create a quarterback keeper, you can create a normal pass, a play action pass, or an RPO. Unfortunately, there are no traditional read options or triple options in Axis Football yet. I'm hoping that in Axis Football 28 we'll get all of that stuff. At the very least, read options. It's really hard to run a college dynasty in this game for the people who mod in college teams without having traditional read options. Having the RPO certainly helps make this look a lot more like college football, but without read options, it really doesn't look a whole lot like college football. So anyway, we're going to create a defensive play. We're going to create a play out of, let's see, do we want nickel or dime? And again, this also lacks a true quarters formation. So I'm going to do nickel. And let's see, do I want to do it out of the double mug? No, let's just start from the base nickel. All right, so this play is going to be inspired by a scheme that is commonly run by Vic Fangio. I've loved Vic Fangio as a defensive coordinator ever since he was the DC for the Bears under Matt Nagy in 2018, 2019. I was really disappointed that Fangio didn't get the Bears head coaching job after Nagy, but I think he had already gotten the job with the Broncos or something like that. So this defense is going to be a man coverage variant of cover 4, or what the Fangio defense would call quads. Basically, it's going to be match coverage underneath, with both safeties playing deep inside leverage to take away posts and seams. This will likely look like cover 2 to opposing QBs, hopefully baiting the QB into trying to throw into that deep middle, where both safeties will be ready to jump the route. Again, I have no idea if it will work the way I expect it to in the actual game because there's no practice mode in which to test it, so we'll have to find out. But first, we have to actually create it. So let's start with our shell. So we're going to have 2 deep zones, but we're going to be playing deep zone 2 of 4. All right, so this is how it's a setups, right? So this is deep zone 1 of 1. So this would be cover 1, right? So this would be the 1 deep zone in a cover 1. And then there's the 2 cover 2 deep zones, right? So you can do like a rotation here as well. So this would be cover 2. And then you can do the cover 3, right? So again, you could do rotations if you want. And then we're going to look at cover 4. So this is going to be the number 2 deep zone in cover 4, because the number 1 would normally be this left cornerback who'd be, going out here. And then the free safety, or the strong safety, is going to have the 3 out of 4. And this is man coverage or QB spy. Okay, so we leave that. All right, and then the nickel is going to be playing an underneath or curl flat zone coverage. And my linebackers are also going to be playing curl flats. Oh, and I can't give him an over-the-top shade. That's kind of unfortunate. But they're good. I want to give him outside leverage. So there's outside leverage. Actually, let me go back to the nickel and give him outside leverage as well. Right, so here's inside leverage. You can see where it's shaded more purple. That means he's favoring the inside, right? So he's going to take inside breaking routes. And in fact, that's probably what I should be doing here, because the cornerback is going to be taking outside breaking routes. Or maybe I should just leave this as man. You know what? I should just leave these as man. And then this guy is going to play traditional man as well. So this is going to be all man underneath. And let's go ahead and try to get these guys to the outside. And the reason for that is to kind of leave the passing lane in the middle a little bit open for the quarterback to, again, try to throw an inside pass, into here where both of these safeties are going to be waiting. All right, so this is a quads. The Fangio defense, I just recently learned, calls this pounder. So I'll go ahead and call it pounder as well. And then save. And then I have to go and add this to my defensive playbook as well. Go over to custom plays, add all, and there it is. And I can always go back and add more plays as well. And I might go ahead and do that just to play around with the play editor more. And then the last thing that I want to look at, or one of the last things, I guess there's still two more things, is I'm going to go to front office, and we're going to do our, or not front office, still one more settings thing. Going to settings, and I'm going to be editing my play selection. There's an accept changes button here. Okay, hold on. It did change. Yeah. Weird. Okay, go back. Play selection. All right, so Access Football has this pretty robust set of play selection tendencies that you can set for your own team or for any team in the league. It has a bunch of different situations that you can call, and you can adjust what kind of plays you're going to call out of all those different situations. Then it has special categories for goal line. It has a special category for defense. And then new this year is a special category for aggressiveness that basically tells you like how aggressive you want to be like on fourth downs, and whether you're going to like run up the score if you're winning. And also how likely you are to like stick to running the ball, on if you're losing, earlier in the game. And then, of course, how aggressive are you going to be on defense? Are you, if you're winning, are you going to just blitz the hell out of the other team to keep the quarterback feeling uncomfortable? Or are you going to pull back and play more like prevent style defense? So there's sliders for all of these sorts of things, which is pretty awesome. I think even like I don't even think Madden has a setting for this in its custom playbooks or tendencies. I don't think. I know there's 2-minute offense. I don't think there's like a situation for either 2-minute defense. There's a prevent defense, I guess. But I don't think there's one for winning or trying to run out the clock on defense. I forget. I'd have to double check. Okay, so I'm going to start with first and medium because this is, first and 10, and then I'll go back and do the other first downs. So I like to run the ball. So we're going to run the ball a lot on first down. And specifically, it's going to be a whole lot of inside running. We can go ahead and call a QB run every now and then. I don't know if my quarterback's any good, but we'll run draws on first down occasionally. And, all right, you know what? I actually am going to lower this a little bit. 40, we'll run a little bit more, but I want to add more RPOs, more first down RPOs. And not as many QB runs. And I don't know, maybe I'll even throw in a few more draws here and there. All right, and then when I throw on first down, I'm going to want a lot of short to intermediate throws, no need, and a lot of play actions. Lots and lots of play actions when I throw on first down. All right, so that's first down. God, when the hell are you ever first and 0 to 3? That's just a weird... I don't even know if I want to bother going through this because this is something that happens so infrequently. But first and short, that's maybe there was a defensive penalty on first down, so you've got like a 1st and 5. So this will also be run, even more run. No, actually, you know what? Let's do less running, and we'll just run a crap ton of play action and RPOs on first and short. So what do we have here? We've got short passes, 20 mid passes, 17 deep pass, and then lots and lots of play action. Of course, the big question is it going to be play action deep? Is it going to be play action short? Like, how much are you running? All right, so again, I think, I don't know that I have to change this all that much, except I do want to add more RPOs. No QB runs. And probably not as many draws. More RPOs. Okay, so that's good. So now what do we got here? First and long. First and long, I think will be more split. And first and long, I think I'm going to try more outside running. Try to get players out in space and more draws. We can also try some RPOs. I don't think QB runs are going to help us much in those situations. So more outside running. And then if we do throw... we'll be looking to go deep a lot more often. All right, so that's first down. All right, so we got second and close. Second and close is going to be play action city. All right, second and... it's kind of weird. I think I would label this second and medium, but whatever. Second and medium, yeah, we'll go ahead and do lots of running on second and medium. I'm okay with that. Except I think I'll do more QB runs and, again, more RPO kind of things. So let's tweak this down. And then passing, I think this looks pretty good. It's got a good even distribution of play actions. All right, second and medium, which I would consider to be second and long, and then this would be second and very long, but whatever. Inside run. Yeah, again, I think I want to focus more on outside runs in these situations. I always want to have a threat of anything happening. We might run some more draws. And then we got some RPOs. What else we got here? We can do some more play actions. All right, second and long. We're going to be throwing a lot on second and long. I don't like... We've still got third down to try to get yards, so I don't like this idea of just always going deep. But we're going to focus on going deep, and we're going to focus on going medium. And we'll still do some play actions, because the defense still has to respect the run game in second and long. But what kind of runs are we going to do? This is going to be like a lot more like draws, screens, stuff like that. What other situations do we have? Just third down and fourth down. Okay. Third and close. Money down. We're going to run the ball a lot on third. Want some more RPOs. And then the passing situation, we want a lot more play actions from this as well. All right, third and medium. This is where I think we're going to start relying more on throwing the ball. Way less inside run. Way less inside run. More outside run. Have an occasional QB draw. I wonder if QB run is lumped in with draws? Or sorry, would a QB draw be lumped in with QB run, or would it be lumped in with draws? I wonder. All right, and then... Yeah, this actually looks pretty good. Maybe do a few fewer deep passes and more mid passes. A little more play action. Third down, and now we're getting a little longer. And this is going to be hardly any inside runs. We'll do some more. We'll do some outside runs occasionally. Maybe the occasional QB run or QB draw. But lots and lots of draws. And then as far as passing goes, I think those all look fine. All right, third down and very long. Okay, fourth and short. Fourth and short, I'll do some more QB running. Not as many draws. RPOs are fine. All right. QB runs, fourth and close. Short pass. Yeah, let's get some more play action in here. Don't throw the ball deep as often. This is actually one of my pet peeves in real football is when, you know, it's like fourth and short. You should be able to just do like a fullback dive or something like that. And they throw the ball downfield like a 50-50 jump ball and don't get it. And I feel like those 50-50 jump balls in those situations are not 50-50, not even close. It's always one of my pet peeves. Like, just get the first down, live to fight another day. That's my opinion anyway. But I know, you know, the meta and a lot of analytics and stuff like that says the defense is going to be covering, you know, those short throws and runs and stuff like that. So you have openings down the field. You got one-on-one coverage. It's a good shot, but like, you know, do that on like third and short, right? And then have the opportunity still to go on fourth down and just get the first down. Like, that's right. If that's what you're going to do, if you're going to go for it on fourth down, then take your deep shot on third down when the defense is playing up close. That's my opinion anyway. Wow, 4th and 4 to 7, and we're still running the ball 68% of the time. That is crazy. That I actually am going to change. No, we're going to throw the ball a lot more. And what are we going to do when we throw the ball? We're going to have some play action. Probably not as much play action. More mid passes. This is fourth down, right? So this is like you got to get it, right? So yeah, you know, we're going to run medium passes. And then running the ball, again, I don't think inside running is going to be very helpful in those situations. Maybe we'll do some draws. Maybe we'll do some QB sneaks, do an RPO here and there. But mostly this is going to be outside running, I would think. And then we've got fourth and medium. Well, that's a big change. Fourth and medium to fourth and long. This is like all throws all the time. Like, no, we can try running the ball every now and then, but it's going to be like if we do it, it's almost certainly going to be a draw. And then lots and lots of passes. Again, I think we can still do some play action. We're going to focus on throwing the ball mid. Short passes aren't going to help us all that much. And now fourth and long. I mean, am I ever going to run the ball in a situation like this? Probably not. So should I even bother setting these run sliders? Probably not. Deep pass. I think we can still occasionally get a mid pass and try to gain some extra yards, but I don't think we're going to be fooling anybody with play action in these sorts of situations. And that's it for offense. Take a look at goal line. And we've got all 4 downs of goal line. So goal line, first down, I'm running the ball. I'm going to try to go right up your gut. No RPO nonsense. No draws. All right, and then if I do run a pass, again, this is going to be lots of play action. If I'm running a pass on first and goal, it is almost definitely a play action pass. Yeah, don't run deep passes because, you know, there's nowhere to go. Literally nowhere to go. All right, goal line second down now. That's kind of weird. 104 to -4? Okay. And when I get to second down, I think I'm going to be erring more towards some outside runs. I still might try some QB runs. Probably not going to run any draws. And there will be some RPOs. And then if I'm running a pass, once again, it's going to be lots and lots and lots of play action. Goal line third down. I still like running the ball at the goal line, but a lot less inside running, a lot more outside running. And then again, for short passes, we're running play action. Goal line fourth down. Here, I am probably going to be throwing the ball a lot more often. Still want to hit lots of play action in these sorts of situations. All right, and then defense. And it's all the same stuff. All right, so first and short for whenever this comes up. I like zone, and I like to blitz. And I wonder if blitzes, if when it calls a blitz, if it takes your man and zone percentages into consideration. Like if I have a higher man coverage rate, or in this case, if I have a higher zone coverage rate and it calls a blitz, does this mean it's going to favor zone blitzes, or is it going to just call random blitzes and they could be man or zone? I don't know. All right, more first and short. What was the... Whoops. What was the number again? That was like 20. Okay. So similar. Actually, probably even less. I'm going to be blitzing. All right, first and medium. I still like to play lots and lots of zone. And I still love me some blitzes. All right, first and long. Now here I'm much more likely to play man coverage, but still I'm going to favor zone. You know, this will be like quarters zone coverages. And I'm going to blitz because I want to put pressure on the quarterback. You know, I'm not going to just sit back and let him throw the ball over my defense's heads. All right, second and close. Once again, this is going to be a lot of zone and a lot of blitzing. Second and short. Still lots of zone. And lots of blitzing. Second and medium. I love to blitz. I like to play a very aggressive defense. All right, now here on like second down and long, I'm probably going to start playing more man coverage. And then second and long. I'm going to blitz a lot. All right, third down and close. Once again, I still like blitzing. All right, and third and medium. Again, I like to blitz. And third and long, this is another one of my pet peeves with the real football play calling is when you got teams in like third and long, fourth and long situations, like especially at the end of the game where it's like touchdown or bust, and they back up and play prevent. Like, no, I'm gonna blitz people, right? I'm not gonna let the quarterback just sit in the pocket or scramble left and right, for 10 seconds waiting for someone to get open downfield. Like, no, he's gonna have people in his face. I think that's fine. Fourth and medium. Yeah, here I'm going to be blitzing, but I'm also going to be playing a lot more man coverage in these sorts of situations. And then fourth and long, this is going to be man coverage all down the field, but also some blitzing. And then aggressiveness. My fourth down aggressiveness, I'm going to say I'm not very aggressive on fourth down. If I'm losing on offense, how quickly do I abandon the run? I mean, I guess it really depends on how well my running attack is actually doing. If I'm losing on defense, I'm actually going to get more aggressive because I want to try to force mistakes and force turnovers. And if I'm winning on offense, I'm going to get real, probably conservative. Like that's just how that's going to work. Winning on defense. Lower values indicate that shift to conservative prevent style defense sooner. So I was just talking about how this is a pet peeve of mine. And no, I want to keep the pressure on. And not just let, opposing quarterbacks sit back and orchestrate comebacks without resistance. All right, so that is our play calling. I really hope all of that got saved. And now we go back. So we have our first game coming up against LA. We've set our depth chart. We've, hired and fired coaches. We even have a couple players on a practice squad. We've customized our playbook, our play calling tendencies. All these, it's basically off-season mini camp we just did. So now the one thing we have left to do before we actually play the game is to practice. So this is another thing that's kind of unique to Axis Football is you have this like weekly practice strategy where you get to set how you want to practice. And the higher you set it, the more points you get to spend in all of these different categories. but the higher the risk of an injury. And one of the things that I've asked for a few times in Axis Football that they haven't done is I would actually like to see diminishing returns, right? So like this goes to 8, and then it doubles to 16 at normal, and then on heavy it triples to 24. I think this should be more like, maybe like 10 points for light, and then 16 for normal, and then like 20 for heavy. So that's a little bit more of a disincentive to do heavier practices. You're going to get injuries, but also you get diminishing returns because, the players are like exhausted. There's only so much you can do in a week. And there's no button to return to defaults, and changing that reset everything. So I guess I have to set all this myself. So I like to play run heavy. So I'm going to... Wow, that looks like a lot more than... Okay, well, I guess it's only out of 5. All right, blocking. Definitely want blocking. All right, tackling, block shedding. This is where things get a little bit tricky. So this is a big one for me, is I want film study. And I always want to work on speed and agility so that I don't get torched deep, because this has always been a problem. We'll go ahead and put a point into special teams, pass coverage, pass rushing. All right, so... See, so now this is the decision, right? So I don't have enough points to put points into everything, and this is where things get tough. So do I want tackling or block shedding? Let's do tackling. And I'll go ahead and lower rush and ball security so that I can put a point into block shedding. Right, so running the ball is still our offensive focus. That's where we're putting the majority of our points, into running and blocking. But then I also want to make sure that my team's awareness is high, that their play recognition is high, and I want to make sure that we're not getting burned on deep routes and crossing routes or outside runs. Unfortunately, there is no scouting report. So I have no idea how LA plays, short of I guess I could, some people might call this cheating, but I could go to the team edit and I could look at their play selection percentages, right? I could even change them if I want, which is kind of cheating, and decide, do they run the ball more? Do they throw the ball more? Look at first down and medium. What do we have here? We've got a pretty even run pass split. Lots of inside running and lots of deep passing on first down. So, I can use that as a basis, but it would be really nice to get a proper scouting report for upcoming opponents. But anyway, now I think I actually am ready to start a game. So again, we've set our depth chart, right? We have a couple practice squad players. I assigned all my coaches. We checked out our facilities. I think we upgraded 1 or 2 things. We've now set our practice intensity, and we have effectively a game plan. So we are ready to begin the actual season. So in the next episode, I will start with this game against LA. I probably will play this full game. And then after that, when we get into Oklahoma City, St. Louis, those games, I will decide at that point whether I'm going to actually play them or if I'm going to just coach. But in any case, I hope to see you then, and I hope that you've enjoyed taking this look under the hood at Axis Football 26 and how its play creator works and the options for setting up your game plans and so forth. The franchise mode is for sure the strength of this game. Has been for quite a while. It does some things that even Madden doesn't do. Although there's a lot of things that that Madden does that I like better. For one thing, Madden has a more fully developed practice squad. I would like to see this game improve its practice squad so that players on the practice squad get practice squad salaries instead of their full salaries, so that you have more money to actually fill up the practice squad. I would maybe like to see a little bit more development in practice strategies, and have the ability to like maybe run some actual drills and run practices. Another thing that I'll talk about later during the actual season that I would like to see changing is this home dashboard. They have this activity thing here, right, that shows what teams are doing right now. I think I'm probably the only team that's done any transactions in the game so far. But this, I think, should be on the home dashboard somewhere, right? Like, I don't know, maybe get rid of standings, or maybe like merge this next game in with the team schedule widget, and have like this be a league activity widget, right, that shows you trades and free agent signings and stuff like that, so that it's right there up front. You can see what's going on, and I think that would help to make the league feel a lot more alive, and it would draw your attention to the fact that these things are happening. Whereas now you have to go digging to find that information, and I don't think that's great design. I think put it right up here up front where it's always going to be seen. But anyway, that's my little mini rant. So again, hope to see you next time when we will take on the Los Angeles Tide.